Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 2 of Sig.Trust versus TNC, the upper bracket semifinals. My God, was game 1 a bloodbath, game 2 gearing up to be something similar. Let's go ahead and take a look here as these teams are not wasting any time coming into our second match of this decisive best-of-3 series. Now, Sig.Trust, oh God, apologies. Where did that come from? Okay, refresh ourselves. Sig.Trust, man, game number 1, all them all day long. They had a couple of failed team fights, a couple of bad skirmishes, but all things considered, they played that one damn well, and they were rewarded handsomely with a win. They got both Roshans, and it seemed like the first Rosh was really that big turning point when they grabbed the momentum and just never let go of it. Sorry about that. So, again, Sig.Trust, afraid of the split-pushing heroes. Drow, Nature's Prophet, worked for him in game 1. They're going to take him out here in game number 2. And interestingly enough, TNC says, all right, guys, listen. I know that we played the Cancer Spirit and Doom last game, but we don't want you to play it, so we're going to ban out the heroes that we played and lost with. It's interesting when you see that kind of a drafting strategy comes out. It's like, were Sig.Trust ever even that interested in these heroes? Did they want Earth Spirit Doom? Those are the kind of things that I would be asking myself since TNC were the ones that played them in game 1. Vengeful Spirit Sven, so they're going to stick true to their guns. It didn't work in game 1. And they're going to have another go at it here in game number 2. Now, it might be that the OD was the big bottleneck. Wait, I lied. I just got my wires crossed. Holy shit, the sides are swap. I'm so sorry. Doom and Earth Spirit. That's how Sig.Trust won game. I'm an idiot. Oh, for fuck's sake. You know, every so often you confuse Dire and Radiant and say something stupid. This is one of those times. So just go back in time about 60 seconds, forget everything I just said, and then fast forward again and rejoin us to now. Very smart bans from TNC this game. Taking out the Doom and the Earth Spirit, 2 heroes that did a lot of work against them in the last game. And Sig.Trust, they're going to stick to what they know. It worked in game 1, ban out those split-pushing ratty heroes, rat-a-tat-tat. And they're going to go from there. Now, Sig.Trust do something way different, though. We haven't talked about it yet. Wisp and Chaos Knight. One of the better Wisp partners, I think. CK by himself is, I think, very lackluster. One of those heroes that doesn't really flash farm that well. Kind of rides the wave of momentum, and then once he hits critical mass, he's ridiculous to deal with, especially if you don't have the counters. The cleave from Sven is a way to kind of deal with them. Just a blink, chop, 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 and you can clear it up a little bit. So I think Sven, a good pick here to try and deal with Chaos Knight towards that late game, but it's hard to deal with Wisp Chaos Knight just in general. The name of the game is Vision, and I really like this third pick from Sig.Trust because, ta-da, the Hawk gives you brilliant vision around the map, like amazing vision. You know, you just fly that bad boy down into enemy territory, you see a bad daddy, relocate in, finish him off, then just go right back to farming. That beautiful taxi service that the Energy Ball provides. Also a deny pick. Beastmaster is really good against Wisp for the same reason. You use the bird to scout things out. Sometimes you can gauge the relocate a little bit better. So kind of a deny pick. And also good follow-up. If Beastmaster ends up getting BOTs, he can BOT into the Hawk. Then you've got the big Primal Roar stun to set up, and you can go from, hey, there's nobody in enemy territory, to all of a sudden 3 heroes as part of a ganking squad. And again, the Lion just synergizes so well with what they have going on here. Beautiful initiation with the Chaos Knight and Beastmaster. Now they've got follow-up. When you grab a support like the Wisp, it's often good to grab somebody who is very aggressive and can deal a lot of damage. Lion makes up for all of the things that Wisp lacks. You know, Wisp has no crowd controls, has no burst damage. Lion has both of those in plentiful bounds. Very well-rounded. I really like the way Sig.Trust are doing it. Now for TNC.
10 seconds remaining.
Let's not get let's not get too excited here about Sig.Trust. This could be a good game for TNC as well. Venge, Sven, Spirit Breaker, Phoenix. An interesting medley of heroes, and holy wow, Medusa for Sig.Trust. Okay, so they're going to go Dusa back-to-back games here. Let's go around. It's going to be a 5th pick. Well, they've definitely got the late game. I mean, this is like Chaos Knight Dusa is where it's at with a Wisp backing him up. What does TNC grab here? Because I don't know if their team fight is really much better, and I don't think their carry power is really much better.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
I don't know what the ideal last pick is here.
Reserve
They
time.
need the rug to tie the room together, and it needs to be a mid-hero. And this is going to be tough, because you've got presumably Phoenix in the off lane, so it's a position 4 Spirit Breaker, position 5 Venge. You need somebody substantive here, because it's going to be a dual lane mid, almost for sure. I think we're looking at safe lane Dusa, off lane Beastmaster, and Wisp CK mid. I mean, they could do something like Venge Sven mid, just to kind of match up with that dual lane, melee on melee plus a support. That could be a creative solution here, and then they grab a safe laner that can just get some space and farm away against the Beastmaster. It's a creative way to do it. Man, what is good against CK Wisp? Alchemist actually could be okay. Wisp, no armor. That acid spray is ridiculous. Like, you put acid spray down, Spirit Breaker comes charging in. Wisp will die in like 4 auto attacks. It's pretty ridiculous, actually. And it makes it difficult for the CK to just sit in lane. I worry about the Alch, though. I think that's like a laning solution, but not really a late game solution. I feel like it almost has to be a ranged hero. Against 2 stuns, 3 stuns, really, Lion, CK, and Beastmaster, you need somebody that's going to be ranged to sit back and deal with the Dusa, and they don't take heed to my advice on that front. They go with the Slark. I'm thinking this is Sven Venge mid and safe lane Slark now with the off lane Phoenix. But Sam H is the one that takes the Spirit Breaker, so maybe it's SB that's going to be the core here, and it's a 4 Phoenix. You know, either way, I don't really like it. It's not always good to make a bold claim before the game starts, but I think Sig.Trust won with the draft. Of course, anything can happen, and they do have a greedier lineup that could fall behind.
5
But you look at
seconds
these
remaining.
lineups, and you ask yourself, what is the stage of the game where TNC have the edge? You know, like, what is their window where they should be hitting that peak on their power curve, and Sig.Trust won't be able to stand up against the heat? And I don't see that window. I think the laning phase is going to be a little bit rough. Sig.Trust, I think, just have slightly better laning heroes. You know, like Beastmaster should be able to get a lot more out of the off lane than either the Phoenix or the Spirit Breaker. Mid with the Wisp could go either way. But mid-game, Sig.Trust can fight a lot. Once they get a Blink Dagger on the Lion, they can just relocate. They can find pickoffs left and right. You know, and TNC don't really have better late game, and they can't really end the game quickly either. You know, it's going to be one of these matches where they just have to hope to win it through good skirmishes, through good team fights in the mid-game. And that is definitely easier said than done.
30 seconds to battle.
Because they don't really have a great 5-man lineup either. You know, you look at this 5-man squad, and yeah, you've got Spirit Breaker to initiate, you've got a Sven stun, you've got a Phoenix Egg, but I think there's just a general lack of synergy across all those heroes in a straight-up 5v5 environment. You know, like, this is like an all things equal discussion that we're having here, right? Obviously, if TNC get the initiation, if Sven blinks in with a stun, and they 3-shot the Wisp before the fight starts, they're going to be in a good shape to take the rest of that engagement. But what I mean in an equal 5v5 where neither side really has an obvious initiation advantage, it's just the 2 carries start poking each other and then everyone else starts to follow up. In those kind of fights, I think we'll see that superior crowd control from Sig.Trust really start to shine. But time will tell. This is game 2, folks. TNC need a win here if they want to stay in the upper bracket for this tournament. Already, we're seeing Sven pressured pretty hard in the mid lane here. So they are doing this mid-Sven, as I talked about, kind of the creative solution. But Venge is nowhere to be found, at least not right now. She's going to rotate down bottom near the Slark to get this game started. Looks like she's just going to creep pull and whatnot. Puts down a Sentry Ward and just barely misses this one. Unfortunate there. Sven actually holding his own, at least for now. These first couple levels, it's not so scary. But it changes fast. So it's a dual off lane for TNC. This I was surprised. I would not have thought would be the case. Phoenix Spirit Breaker. I feel like I'm missing something here. Because my gut is telling me, like, is this a good dual off lane? And I don't want to say it isn't, because maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe there's some synergy across these two heroes that is just eluding me at the moment. But this is rocky, man. This is two heroes in their off lane that are pretty effectively being zoned out here. It is Sam H that's taking the farm again. So Spirit Breaker is the 3 here. Interesting. Well, he's going to start roaming about. Phoenix hits level 2, so his life gets a little bit easier now. Can put that point in Icarus Dive.
Invisibility.
And Venge is still just lingering down here in the bottom lane. I am a little bit surprised they're giving this much space to the CK. I mean, Sven is able to hold his own, at least for now. Spirit Breaker did find an invisibility rune. They might put a little bit of hurt onto the CK. Wisp rotating to the bottom lane. This is not going to be an easy gank. This Spirit Breaker is only level 2. I think at best they can hope to harass my pro, but securing a kill here when he's so close to the tower, ooh, this is tricky. Wisp has a TP scroll. You can always just TP on in. TK drops the stun. Now they turn the other way. Ooh, Wisp is here, though. He's healing him up. My pro might live. He eats the Fairy Fire. Now the reality back. They want Teehee, but not going to find him. Or maybe they will. 2-second stun. A few more auto attacks. Now he eats the Fairy Fire as well. Gets the bottle, starts sipping, and they've got to turn the other way. First blood comes out. The stun from Sven secures the kill on the Chaos Knight, and Sam H pops the Wisp. Beautifully done by TNC. Sven, great timing on that bottle. Not only did it heal him up, but it gave him the mana he needed to turn that around and stun on the CK. And that is something that my pro was not anticipating whatsoever. Close call, but TNC get the first blood, and that's the kind of start they need. First blood on Sven against this dual lane. On paper, that kind of stuff should not be happening, but back and forth little skirmish, and the Radiant do find the advantage. Very nice. Level 3 Phoenix in the off lane. Starting to get some experience here, and oh, golly. Wisp hanging out in the bottom lane. They set up a kill onto the Vengeful Spirit. Beastmaster, not yet level 6, but when you have 3 points in the board, the slow is actually pretty significant. Yeah, I guess it's a 2-point board, but still, that 20% slow is enough for a kill. Very nice.
Radiant's middle tower is under
So we did talk about offlaners, and Beastmaster getting way more out of this. Raven, only level 4 on the Slark. He's already used his Pounce, and this is going to be hard to survive. Boots on the Beastmaster, as well as the speed boost from the Wisp. They'll just chase him down. Wisp will get credit for that kill. Meanwhile, up top, Spirit Breaker now initiated on. Stun from the Lion. Sam H charges across, eats a Fairy Fire. Dusa trying to finish him off, but the attack speed slow from the Phoenix will make it an impossibility. One more and AU's going down. Ken LaKells find the auto attack. He's got the Snake, but can't get in range, and Healing Salve will keep the Phoenix alive. All the while in the bottom lane, Venge falls again to the Beastmaster Wisp. Beastmaster just barely lives against the Slark. 5 HP, outranges the Dark Pact. Jabs, does he get out of this as well? I don't think so. Slark will be able to finish him off. A Spirit Breaker dies to neutrals. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Reality, Chaos Bolt onto the Sven. The two beefcakes left to their own devices, just farming away against one another. Sven and CK both about even on farm, as the Wisp has now started roaming about. What is this game? Now up in the top lane, Phoenix initiated on by the Lion. Follow-up stun, the Snake from the Dusa, not enough damage. And the Bird will live on about 20 HP. Now back towards the mid. Jabs, stunned on the low ground. He's already tethered up, nowhere to go. But down towards the bottom rune, he will start to make it out, but Sam H is in hot pursuit. He'll have a charge in 2 seconds. My pro lingering nearby as well. There's the Reality Rift. Charge up to the high ground. Wisp will die again. Spirit Breaker gets another. 5-3 is TNC pulling to the lead, at least in terms of kills. Now back to the top lane. Ka! Phoenix lingers around too long, and just a couple of stray auto attacks from Boom Bell and LaKells get the kill. 5-4 in 6 minutes of gameplay. Who's winning right now? Well, according to the numbers, it is TNC.
Gold for me.
Getting slightly more out of this back and forth game. Just non-stop kills in every single lane. Now down bottom, Spirit Breaker goes charging in onto Fei Mao. Beautiful roar. Stops him dead in his tracks. He saw it coming with the bird from a mile away. Slark wanted to set something up. He is now level 6. Connects with the pounce. Phoenix nearby as well. Fei Mao down. And the Radiant get yet another kill. And again, my bold prediction, well, proving to be potentially misguided here in this game as TNC start off super aggressive. Charge onto jabs. Sam actually cancels it. Does not want to dive the Wisp. Who is level 4? Jabs roaming about has definitely gotten him some experience. As things are starting to come together for TNC. Both Phoenix and Spirit Breaker sitting level 5. 2 heroes that completely change in scope once the ultimates come out. We'll open up some more possibilities for them. Venge, the one that's kind of criminally underleveled right now. Only 3. No items, but a single GG branch. Tough going here for Winter G, the small sun. And even though Fei Mao did just get picked off there, he is level 7 and still farming very nicely in terms of overall net worth. But my oh me, has this CK fallen behind the Sven. 26 CS on him compared to the 39 of the Sven. And that is the opportunity cost of the Wisp rotating around. You could definitely argue that it might have been worth it. They did get a kill on the Slark, though. He did also die several times to the Spirit Breaker. 1, 3, and 2. And now they will have some recovering to do. A little bit scary to see the Sven this far ahead of the Chaos Knight this early on because Sven does farm a lot faster. Though, look at this build. Oh my, Teehee doing something completely different. We spoke last game about Sven's standard build these days. It's all about the Great Cleave. Instead, he's gone all Stormhammer Warcry. This is like, I'm not going to farm in the jungle. I am going to fight incessantly. Another freebie on the Wisp. So far, so good. Wishing he had some cleave for this camp, though. Although maxed out Stormhammer does open up some farming possibilities here. Look at this. Not so shabby for you, Mr. Sven. Not so shabby. So that is the scariest part, though. He's number 1 on net worth, and he also has farming tools that the CK doesn't, at least at this stage of the game. Speaking of the devil down bottom, they go in onto Raven. He gets off the ultimate. Dark Pact is there, but... or Shadow Dance, rather. But not going to be enough to get away. CK connects with a stun. Now a charge from the Spirit Breaker. He's across the map, though. Sig.Trust, get that tier 1 tower down bottom. We get another much-needed kill on the Slark. And it's nice that MyPro was a part of it. Even got credit for the kill. That'll give him a nice little boost. A little recovery farm there. Up top. Sven onto, or stun onto Lakel's. Sven onto Lakel's. We haven't talked about Lakel's much this game. Just keeping it quiet up in the safe lane. Probably the same general strategy we saw before. Stay very quiet until you get that core kit, and then just start deathballing around the Medusa. Last time it was Aquila, Phase, Drum, Yasha before he started moving a lot. And a little more than halfway at that point, just off the recipe to grab the drums. And then the quest for the Yasha begins. MyPro roaming around here with jabs. Still more than recoverable for the CK. As I said, it is a little scary seeing the Sven this far ahead, but seeing that he didn't get any points in the Great Cleave, he can't just power farm Ancients. They've got a couple of stacks. It's been scouted out already. But this lead is a little bit less scary than I think I would otherwise state if he went for that more traditional farming build. I wonder what item build he's going to go for as well. He may skip that HOD first item and just rush something like a Blink Dagger. Lakel's possibly in trouble here in the top lane, being charged right now. 3-on-1. Lakel's better get back, good buddy. And he will. Good game sense there. Phoenix is also level 6, so now Supernova's out. A stun initiation from the Sven into a Supernova is pretty much doomed for anyone. Raven opting for the Hand of Midas here on the Slark. An interesting choice, but I do like it. Realizing that this is not going to be a quick game, especially in the context of the lack of pushing. We talked about it earlier on, and that is one of the weak points of this TNC draft. So why not invest in the Midas?
Dire's bottom tower.
And Slark is one of those carries that, especially at this stage of the game, he can still fight even without big items. He kind of bumps into the line here, but there's a relocate. Ultimate comes out and he just TPs home.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Lives under the cover of the Shadow Dance. Whew. Well, baits out a relocate. That is something. Boom Bell getting charged. Spirit Breaker going to continue on here. There's the stun. Very nice. Good positioning there as SB was coming up from the low ground. Back in the mid lane. Reality Rift on to Teehee. And that'll be the end of it. Interestingly enough, Sven going for the drums here. So he went for Tread Drum. That could have been a Tread Blink, but I guess feeling like he just needs some stats, wants to stay combative.
Top tower is under attack.
I was thinking with this build, maybe just Blink Initiation with the Storm Hammer could be a good option. But trying something a little bit different here. The nice thing about the drum is it does buff up that mana pool. Gives you that extra 9 all abilities. And Sven is one of those heroes that really suffers in terms of early mana gain or mana regen, all that. Double damage now, picked up by the Wisp. And things will quiet down a little bit. Both teams just in that stage of the game where they don't really want to fight. Working on getting that core kit and capitalizing on those farming tools. Armlet going to be on the way for Chaos Knight. Midas just kicking in for Slark. Still very far off the Shadow Blade. Beastmaster now at the level 1 Necro book, but probably doesn't really want to fight too much until level 3 comes out. As I say that, Primal Roar comes out onto Sam H. They'll burn all of his mana. Now the Stone Gaze from Dusa. They bring him down first. Supernova on the high ground. Good positioning here. They don't have vision. Now they find it. Winter G, Small Sun, tries to TP home. He will. Phoenix gets off the Supernova, but no stuns. Instead, they go for Teehee. It's a 5-on-1. Sven completely isolated and will be brought down. Phoenix just hiding in the tree line. Will be forced to TP out. It's a 2-0, and Sig.Trust will now move into this Tier 1 tower mid. They've got some Phantasm Illusions. Looks like looks like he may have gotten lucky there. Yep, got the RNG for another one. And they will just chip away at this tower. Nice setup there for Sig.Trust. We'll give them some needed momentum. They won't be able to finish off that Tier 1 tower. Charge coming in from the Spirit Breaker. But this does not strike me as a time for TNC to fight, especially without the Supernova. Kind of a double-edged sword in that last engagement. It did buy them some time in the core part of the fight, but it also contributed to isolating the Sven because Sig.Trust had nowhere to run except for in the direction that the Sven was, and he ended up just completely outnumbered with very few options. Spirit Breaker, another charge gets queued up. This time it's on the Lion. But again, great positioning, just moves into the tree line. Would have forced Sam H to dive the tower. And as such, the charge is canceled. Very nice. Sven now finally starting to get points in the Great Cleave. It does seem a little odd to not have Great Cleave against CK, but I think it also doesn't really matter at this stage of the game. Phantasm isn't really a huge threat until like level 11 plus, you know? So right around the time Sven's going to start getting points in the Great Cleave, it's right around the time when you really need the AoE to clear the CK illusions. But more of a later game problem. You know, that's why Mjolnir, great item. Oh, Sven gets caught here. Finger of Death comes out. There's the relocate. Oh, Svenny boy gets put 6 feet under. AU tries to come in, but no Supernova used. Instead, they just go on to the Small Sun here. And Winter G gets clobbered as well. Charge across onto Fei Mao. TP on the way in. It's Slark. He's ready to fight. Now the Supernova comes. My Pro could be in some trouble here. Wisp was tethered up to the Beastmaster. They both end up dying. Phoenix gets off the stun. That'll stop Lakel's dead in his tracks. It's a bloodbath here. Both sides get almost completely cleaned up. In the end of it, it's a 4-for-4. Dusa and Slark, the only two surviving. And looking at the graph, it is TNC that find the net worth gain of about 1K. But what a chaotic fight that was. Dare we look at the replay and see if we can decipher what actually happened? All right, let's take a gander here. So it starts off with Initiation in the Ancients. Lion just bumps into Sven. They relocate. Nice quick pick. And at this stage, it looks like, wow, Sig.Trust just got away with murder. Then they find the Venge. Supernova's not used. And it looks like just a series of quick picks. But then you realize that they are in deep. It's a great charge from the Spirit Breaker. They TP in. Oh, back to the real game. Dusa trying to steal the Ancients here. This could actually be huge. We're going to cut back to the real game.
I'll take that.
Tier 1's down, and this is a tough spot here for TNC. Teehee gets jumped on by the relocate again. Is the stun going to be enough? They've got the swap, but Dusa still has the damage. Now Sam H in deep. He gets taken out. Slark can't do much but pounce away. He has the Shadow Dance, and now he's going to try to make it out. And he will. The remaining Ancients get stolen by Sig.Trust. And just like that, that 1K net worth they just lost goes right back into their favor. And maybe a little bit more as they clear out the Ancients to boot. So again, this Dusa, Lakel's playing this very predictably. Same item build and basically the same general timings. As soon as that Yasha's done, he is ready to fight. 4-0-2. This is that new style of playing Medusa, where you don't just sit back and passively farm. You farm until you hit breakpoint items, and then you start fighting. And even though TNC know what they're going to do, they still haven't really found the most effective counter yet. Raven here goes in, initiates onto Lakel's. He does not have the ultimate, and this could be a death onto the Dusa. Wisp is here, though. There's the heal. Supernova comes out, and they've got the auto attacks. That'll be the end of the egg, and now they just destroy the Slark. It's a fast twofer. Sig.Trust completely turned it around, charge across to break it up. Sam H should be able to make it out. You know, we didn't talk about it, but if the Phoenix can't get off Fire Spirits, Sig.Trust are really well equipped to deal with the egg. The Inner Beast alone adds that attack speed that makes it so easy just to say, all right, everybody right-click the egg, bada boom, bada bing, and the Phoenix will die. It looked like that was sure death for Dusa, but with a Wisp, she's extra tanky, and the team was able to get there just in time. Very nice. And they get a kill on the Slark. This will transition into the first Roche of the game here at the 18-minute mark. Aegis going to Lakel's, no doubt about that one. And I believe that's a level 3 Necro book around the corner here for old Beastie. And now we're starting to see things dip. Similar to last game, very even in that initial 15 minutes, and then one team gets some momentum and just pulls ahead. Now it's Sig.Trust ahead by a fair bit. You know, I hate to say it, but this Sven build feels like it's backfiring a little bit. When you go for that great cleave build, you can still fight. The way the stun scales, you get that 2-second duration at every level. It's literally just damage. So you can still use Sven to set up team fights, capitalize on the war cry, and even if he's not doing huge damage because he's put points in Great Cleave, he can always go back to farming. Your supports always have something they can be doing in terms of stacking, and that can just allow your team to open up a lot more efficiency. When you go for this fighting build, there is so much pressure on you to take fights and win fights that it's become kind of a bottleneck. He was really far ahead of the CK, now they're dead even, and the Medusa's the one that's pulled really far ahead. Teehee 2-3-1 has died way too much for this build that he went for. And now that he wants to resort back to farming, he can't farm nearly as quickly as he would like. Even going for the drums, not really that great in terms of farming. Would much rather have the HOD for some extra damage, some extra some life steal most importantly, and the ability to stack yourself. He will instead go for the armlet here. Again, more of a combative item than a farming one. You don't really see the armlet Sven as much anymore. The timing, though, might not be ideal. I think armlet, one of those items that if you can rush it, like Brown Boots armlet, it's devastatingly strong. Picking it up at 20 minutes, it'll probably be a bit underwhelming. Smoke on smoke action here. Both teams about to bump into each other, but who's going to find who? Smokes get broken in the tree line. Boom Bell goes in. Finger right onto the Phoenix. They might be able to bring him down first. It's him and the Lion that die simultaneously. Relocate. Will catch the Spirit Breaker unaware, and Sam H going to get caught out. Had a charge on the way, but they've got the damage. 1 for 2. Sig.Trust only lose their Lion. Of course, they still have the Aegis in tow. So not the end of the world there. And with the level 3 Necro Book, they're just going to move right into this tier 2 tower. One of the best parts about the Beastmaster, he just makes it so easy to siege towers like this. Sven actually will take the kill on the Necro Book. Takes the last will damage, but at this point, he'll take any farm that he can get. And that's a big bounty on those Necro creeps. First tier 2 tower of the game destroyed by Sig.Trust. Total tower count now, well, much in their favor. They've got all of theirs still standing. I've taken out 4 of the opponents. Arcane Boots and Glimmer Cape out on the Wisp. Instead of rushing the mech, he just rushes a Glimmer Cape. I like it. And Lakel's actually switching it up. You know, it's funny, we mentioned this in the last game. You go Yasha into Ulti Orb, and then that Ulti Orb either turns into Scotty or Lincoln's, depending on the game. And this is a game where Lakel's is feeling that the Lincoln's is just a better choice, and there's a lot of good single target. Charge, Magic Missile, Storm Hammer, to name a few. All worth absorbing. Sven gonna try to walk around the backside, but they bump into him. Oh no, could be a disastrous way to start off this fight, but Supernova comes down right on top of the team. Sven doing huge damage, starting to cleave him up. They do finish off the egg, but it costs Sig.Trust everything. Only 2 left alive. Lakel's trying to do what damage he can. He does have the Aegis of the Immortal. They're getting, oh god, TNC are damn low. Jab's getting isolated by Sam H. He gets the bash. What a well-timed bash that was. Lakel's pops the ultimate though. He's gonna get at least 1 kill here on the Sven. The rest of TNC forced the Delta split out. He might get a kill on Winter as well. Down he goes. Now Sam H stands his ground. It's a raid boss of a Gorgon. Dusa versus the world. She gets 2 kills and said, okay, I've had enough. I'm going to back up here. I don't want to demoralize him too much. And she gets out of that fight. Wow. Still a big game, though, for TNC. 2 big takeaways, I think, from that one. 1, TNC can still win this game. They've got some team fight prowess, and if they can get off a good combination of their abilities, they can still win a fight. Number 2, they do not have an answer for Medusa. If Lakel's didn't have an Aegis of the Immortal, that just would have been a great team fight in favor of them. But the fact that Lakel's comes up, it's a 4-on-1, and literally they cannot kill him. He kills 2. If the Spirit Breaker didn't get that second bash on the Wisp, there might have been another kill there. I'm not going to lie. If Wisp was close to being able to make a pretty cheeky play, they're going to bump right into Phoenix, and that's just a freebie. That's a wicked 6 streak now for Lakel's. I do want to pull up that replay, though, of the last fight and just take a gander because it was a biggin. Let's see, where did this baby start?
Radiant's bottom tower.
So if we go to the
is
instant
under
replay
attack.
here and take a look, they're just slow
Dire's top
sieging the
tower
tower.
is
They
under
bump into the
attack.
Sven off to the side, and it looks like a beautiful initiation, but in this weird tree line, Sig.Trust are completely clumped up, and the Supernova just does an absurd amount of damage. They all clump onto the Supernova to try to finish it off. Sven connects with a stun on 3, and now he's got 3 points in the Great Cleave. And he actually just cleaved down the entire team. That's what happens when you don't have the vision, you don't have the intel, and you're just clumped up around the Supernova.
Double damage.
Basically the perfect way for TNC to take a fight like that, utilizing the Phoenix with the Sven almost perfectly. It's going to be difficult to do that every team fight, though. That scenario may have been somewhat unique to this odd area here where there's all these trees that kind of block everything out. Sig.Trust won't be demoralized with that, though. They're going to continue on, and they want this tier 2 tower. No glyph available for
Radiant's
TNC.
top tower is under attack.
And that'll be the end of it.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
So no more outer towers for this Radiant side. Even though they did just take that fight, they are low on map control. And it is Sig.Trust with all of their towers still farming. Roche Pit still opened up. 2 minutes until we see what that RNG timer looks like. But all things considered, I think Sig.Trust are still in a pretty damn good spot here. Do so with the next ulti orb. Probably looking towards that Scotty now. Doubtful it'll turn into a Manta. At least next item, Phoenix. Could get caught, reality into stun, and oh my. Phoenix just picked apart. I mean, he doesn't have any items. He's just got a Midas, so it's a pretty easy kill if you can catch him like that. We're starting to see the power of that CK Wisp, though. It's just this mobile taxi service that can find kills whenever anyone is even remotely overextended. Also, Boom Bell picking up the Blink Dagger now. Even more initiation power for this Dire side. They've already got a lot. Now with their first Blink Dagger, Lion can catch him from afar. Also, S and Y out on the CK. He's starting to get a lot of momentum. And level 16 is when Phantasm becomes a real big deal. If you get that extra bit of RNG and you get 4 illusions,
Radiant's
it's
courier
kind
has
of
been
insane to deal with. Oh, Radiant's Courier. Uh-oh. Where's he at? Where'd he die? I'll just find it over the tree line here. Looks like this pesky hawk was able to scout it out. Just an orb of venom. Not a huge deal. Caught a lion, or a blink on the Beastmaster, too. Double blinks now for Sig.Trust, coming out at just about the same time. Initiation from afar, anyone? How's Slark doing? Actually, that Courier snipe is going to hurt because his Oov is on the Courier and not going to be able to do much for the next 2.5 minutes. Oh, relocate up top. Oh, this poor Phoenix. It's just a free kill at this point. Primal Roar and relocate. Nothing the Phoenix can do. Just dies in the duration of the stun. Starting to wonder if this double Midas pickup from TNC It's going to prove to be a mistake. I like Midas on both of these heroes, and they make sense individually, but when you look at the team overall, it's like that's 4,000 gold. They've got 3 Midases. Holy Toledo. All right, I'm going to go ahead and say that's a mistake. When you've got 3 hands of Midases, like you look at this net worth chart, you think, okay, that's not that bad. They're not that far behind, but if you think about over 6,000 of their effective gold is just sitting in plus 90 attack speed. Not exactly value. So they're way more behind in these team fights than it even seems like on paper. Slark feeling like we talked about before, this is going to be a long game. He needs to invest in a farming tool. Phoenix almost always gets Midas because you need experience to stay relevant. And Spirit Breaker, some people hate it, some people love it. I think it does work well on SB in some games, especially if you have a good early start like he did in this one. One of few heroes that really benefits from that 30 attack speed. So it allows you to charge around the map more and still kind of keep tempo with that hand of Midas for extra XP and farm. But uh-oh, here we go. Smoke up to the high ground. Sig.Trust, we're ready for it. Boombo gets jumped on, but he just barely lives through it. Now the Phoenix goes into Supernova. It'll get taken out. They trade Lion for Phoenix. And Sig.Trust are pretty happy with that. The Slark is committed deep. They get the kill there. Now they find the Sven to boot. Oh, no. TNC. It's a disastrous fight. All 3 of their cores get destroyed. The only 2 that live are indeed the supports. And now Roche, ripe for the taking. Sig.Trust just move right into the pit. And this will be Roche number 2. Oh, man. That smoke gank had so much potential. The right idea from TNC. Roche is up. Let's pick a team fight and then take Roche, and we can start to regain some footing. Unfortunately, though, it did not go that way. You can check out this replay and see exactly where things went wrong. This replay brought to you by moonducktv. Follow us at moonducktv. Hashtag pimpmuckle. So here we go. Smoke up to the high ground. It gets broken, and Lakel's is just completely ready for it. You know, and at first, Slark makes a pretty big play to finish off Lion, but it costs him his Shadow Dance. And as soon as the Lion dies, you look at the Slark, and he's like, well, fuck, what do I do now? If he had pounced to the low ground, maybe Sven and him could have kind of rendezvoused and made something happen, but it's just such a bad angle to take the fight once you run in and get destroyed so early on like that.
Radiant's bottom tower.
So here we go. Back to the main game. It's Sig.Trust with an Aegis on the Medusa, ready to siege the high ground here. We're going to take a look at buybacks, and it's nil. TNC do not have a single buyback about them. This is scary time. No outer towers remaining. If Sig.Trust take a team wipe here, expect at least 1 lane of barracks, maybe 2, possibly even a GG. This is rocky territory. About 15k net worth is the favor. Sig.Trust know how far ahead they are here, and they are going to press the issue. I mean, just look at how little damage Slark does. Just tickles the Medusa. Scotty completed 2,600 gold. She's the only one in the game with buyback right now. Radiant do have a glyph, but they're going to be conservative with it and probably save it for the barracks. Tower down to about 1/3 HP now.
Dire's top tower.
TNC looking for the right angle to initiate here. They don't have a ward down. They need to get a ward on the high ground here so they get vision of where everybody else is. But this, again, looking at their vision, it's just so hard to initiate on this. You can't initiate onto Lakel's. It's simply not an option. If you burn your ultimates to kill the Aegis, you're just going to lose the team fight. And I think TNC are actually playing this right, at least so far. They have to slow roll, but here we go. Lion jumps in, gets off his ult this time, brings Winter down to about half health, and they trade supports. Now the rest of the fight comes out. Lakel's has already used the Stone Gaze, gets the Petrification on Phoenix. That'll force him back. Meanwhile, the Spirit Breaker completely isolated by a Reality Rift off to the side. Now Sven as well, out of mana, out of life, and out of options. That's it. It's a 1 for 3. TNC effectively wiped up here. Now they'll start moving on to the barracks. The glyph's already been used. Reality Rift again. Sven this time, or pardon me, Slark this time without an ultimate. He's going down. No buyback. AU might have to use that Supernova to stay alive, but no, he makes it back to the well. Venge does have a buyback, soon to respawn, but the bottom barracks have fallen, and Sig.Trust are not backing up anytime soon. They've still got 4 alive. They know Slark's down, and he probably would have bought back by now if he has it. They take out the tier 3 tower mid now, and they can just chew through these structures so fast. They may not even retreat after this. They've still got a 5v2 on the field for another 20 seconds or so. Spirit Breaker's coming up soon, but what difference is he going to make? What's he going to do? Throw his Midas at him? I mean, it's made out of gold. It would probably hurt more than anything else he's got. Here we go. Sig.Trust moving out of the base now. They will start to rendezvous and back up. A full Heart of Tarask on the CK. And dare I say, this game is borderline over. Not but a single tier 1 tower down on the side of Sig. And TNC barely holding on to that last lane of barracks. You look at the dire vision. They've got 2 wards down right outside of the base. And they will know anytime TNC goes to farm, steps a bit far forward, and they are ready to capitalize. I mean, they are just so far ahead at this point. I mean, Dusa could just drop the drums here and just right-click a Daedalus or something. Or just end the game with 5,000 gold in the bank. That would work as well. I struggle to see a future in which TNC are able to fend this next push off. Triple Midas, man. It just wasn't the play here. 30 minutes in, they're just barely starting to see returns on those Midases. And it prevented them from taking an aggressive mid-game so much. It just stalled anything that they could bring out onto the field. Now a butterfly on the Medusa. I mean, talk about not having a solution here. Blink Armlet on the Sven. Not going to do so much against that 30% evasion. No glyph here for the Radiant. Slark goes jumping on in, tickles the Kells.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Just slow sieging. Lakells still has the Aegis.
Tower has fallen.
It's about to expire. Only about 20 seconds left on it, so they might wait, take that regen rune. They're holding the courier here for the Aegis to expire, and then they're going to give him the butterfly. And there it is. Boofus. It's a sick description there. AC maybe on the way here for Beastmaster before too long. So I think Lakells is like at raid boss territory now. I'm gonna go ahead and say they can't kill him. He just walks up the high ground. He's like, hey, Phoenix, what's up? Yeah, that's cool. Sam H. Oh, hey, turned into a frog. He's dead. Oh, Supernova. Oh, that cracked the egg. Oh, wait, Winter. Oh, jeez. The Radiant team just kind of flopped over. I don't even think they auto-attacked Lakells. Some buybacks will come out, but that's it. GG, man. Brilliant execution from Sig.Trust. A couple of cutie kills here at the end, but Rampage is secured for the Chaos Knight as the game ends. By golly me. 2-0. It goes the way of Sig.Trust as they take Game 2 in convincing fashion. Pretty convincing series in general. A team with a lot of names you'd recognize, and they did live up to the hype here. Lakells didn't even die a single time. 9-0 and 19. That's what you want your Dusa to do. And this style of the combative Dusa, where you group up in 5-man at like the 15-minute mark around a Yasha, it's just great. She's hard to deal with, man. She's damn beefy and actually does pretty good damage at that stage of the game. Pair that with a Wisp CK, and oof, the damage was rough. You even saw the power of the Wisp CK that game because the Chaos Knight didn't do well in the lane. Sven beat him, out-farmed him. But then the Chaos Knight was able to bring it back because of the Wisp taxi service. Find those pickoffs, move them around to go back to farming, getting some efficiency going on. Really good stuff. Well, that's it for our coverage today, folks. Again, I'm Zyori from moonducktv. Thank you so much for joining us. Give me a follow at ZyoriTV on Twitter and at moonducktv to stay up to date with all things happening for this tournament and with the studio itself. Our coverage for today is done. There should be more coming up soon. We're getting towards the tail end of this bracket, so you're going to want to come back and enjoy as we get close to that best of 5 finals that should be coming up around the corner. Until next time, folks, take care. We'll see you.